Hello and welcome to the video. This video is all about how to bring Fab or Quixel assets into Blender. Now recently I released a video showing you how to claim the assets for free before the end of 2024. If you haven't seen that, I do encourage you to check it out. Time is running out. You've got approximately a week left to claim roughly $18,000 worth of fantastic assets. So in the first video, I showed you how to claim them. In this video, I'll be showing you how to add those to Blender. And in fact, I'll just play this animation here. This is the animation that you saw at the beginning of this video. And these are the assets that I grabbed from fab.com or quixel.com, Megascans, and added them to Blender. And if I just put that into rendered mode, you can see that's the animation playing at the beginning of the video. There you go. Looks fantastic. I'm sure you'll agree. So without further ado, let me just create and load up a scene I've prepared earlier, as they say. Got the default cube there, so I'm just going to delete that. Don't need that poor thing right now. And before I start actually showing you how to add them into Blender, we've got to talk about the bridge add-on for Blender, because there is a add-on released from Quixel, and here I am on the website quixel.com, plugins. And if we scroll down a little bit, you can see here we've got various plugins for various types of software. The top one is Blender, of course, and well, not of course, it's there. And you can see there version 3.7. Now I've downloaded this plugin and have it installed, of course. So if I go and search in here, you can see we've got the Megascans plugin 3.7 installed. Now, I will start by saying this would be a fantastic way to get stuff into Blender if it actually worked consistently. I haven't been able to do that, unfortunately. I know from my own research people have, but I found it's never worked for me. That's all I've got to say about that. And we're going to do it the way I kind of prefer doing it, to be honest, and that is where I can download assets individually and then import them into Blender. Here I am on the quixel.com/Megascans website. You saw this, if you watched my previous video, you'd know what this is and why it's important. You can see there in the top left, as before, I've claimed all of the free assets, over 18,000 of them. So what I can do is navigate through any part of these categories. But I'm going to focus on 3D assets today and show you what I did to get that animation that you saw earlier at the beginning of the video. So obviously that applies to every object here. It's the same principle, same process, right? So what you can do is navigate to whatever you like, and I'm going to pick one that I've already done before, so the grapes. I've already downloaded this, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in Explorer. Here, File Explorer. So when you click download, if I select this and select my, say, 2K resolution for the texture maps, hit download, and that obviously download a zip file, right? Once you've got that, head over to where you've saved the zip file and extract all the contents. So these elements here, or objects, 3D assets, are, well, 8 of them that I've used in that scene you saw earlier. So if I go into one of these folders, let's say the grapes. So once you've extracted the zip file you've downloaded, these are the files that you get with the zip within that asset. I'll put it into list view for a second. Just quickly go through what you get here. Clearly you have a preview, which is nice to see what you're getting. You've got the albedo map. We've got a roughness map, transmission map, and there is a displacement there as well. Also in EXR format, the displacement one. So you can use either or of those. Now you notice LODs as well. And if you're not familiar with what these are referred to as levels of detail. So if you're making a game, and how these work effectively is you have different variations of the same model, and depending on how far you are away from that model, one of these versions will be loaded or displayed at that time. So if you're very close to the object, I should go down here actually, the FBX files. So if you're very close to the object, LOD 0 is the highest quality version. You can see there that one is approximately 433 kilobytes. But if I hover over this one here, LOD5, you can see it's 41.7 kilobytes. So it's about 10% of the data. Obviously a much less defined model. So that's why you need LODs in games. Okay, right, with that said, let's go back to thumbnail view. So clearly you don't need all of these files. What you do tend to need at the bare minimum, if I could say that, is the albedo, and which is that one there. You also want a displacement. You don't have to use that, but you can do. You need the normal map, and of course you need the roughness map, transmission for this one, and the LOD, the FBX file itself. So to recap, these are all the ones I downloaded, and each of these folders, here's the cookie. You get a very similar kind of breakdown in the downloads. So there's two ways you can put these into Blender. The way I did it, and if I just put this off to the side for a second here, and if I open up food, and here are the grapes, you can find the FBX file, the LOD0, which is the highest quality, and I believe it's version 4.2 or 4.0 and above. I think it might be 4.2. You can actually drag and drop 3D file formats into Blender. If it recognizes them and supports them, of course, it will pop up with a little window. And I just left everything at default, and I hit Import FBX. And you can see in the outline now, we now have this thing called World Root. Now, I should point out, this doesn't happen for every single asset from Quixel. It happens on this one, but it didn't happen on some of the other ones. If I zoom in here, this is what we get. And of course, it's the grapes that we downloaded. And the world root is effectively an empty, that one there. If I move that, if I press G to grab and move it around, you can see the grapes follow. However, if I select the grapes, just move that to the side for a moment, you can see we have this connecting line between the empty and the actual model itself. And that shows a parent-child relationship. You can see there that's underneath the world root. We don't need the world root technically, so we can actually delete that. And it's deleted the grapes as well over here. It hasn't deleted them, it's put them over there. But because this is an FBX file and it was probably made in another 3D software, not Blender, you can see it comes in rotated by 90 degrees. It's not in the asset, in the actual properties of the file. You see 000 there, but you can see it's not right. So you can rotate that manually, of course, on the x-axis or whichever axis you need to rotate, and also scale it back down because these grapes are now huge, over between 5 and 7 meters large. I'm going to undo that and just keep the world root. Let's go back to that. Oops, there we go. So we can put that back to 0. Basically, if it comes in like that, you can leave it like that. Just make sure you select the world root to manipulate the grapes. Make it easier, you can actually just open up the filters here, enable selectability, and turn off selectability for the grapes. Now I cannot select the grapes, only the empty. But what happens if we render this? Let's turn off scene lights and scene world because I don't have any. And you can see there, this looks nothing like, I can open it up, nothing like this. This is what it should look like. And it will do. Here are the maps, but it doesn't look like that at the moment in Blender. And that's because if we head over to our materials, we need to actually make that selectable now. So I'm just going to do that. Select it over to material. You can see there, we don't really have anything other than a normal map. Do we even have a normal map in there? Let's head over to shading workspace. Here we do, yeah. Let's just get rid of these, get more space. And it has created a normal map for us when we imported the FBX. But that's it. We know we have many other maps to use. So you can see there, they're all missing. But that's really easy to fix. So let's delete the normal map. Just keep our base principled BSDF. And what I'm going to do is, firstly, I'm going to make sure that I have Node Wrangler enabled. So in the add-ons, I can search for Node Wrangler, and here it is enabled. Make sure you have that enabled. by default. I don't know why it's not enabled by default. It should be. It's great. Because with Node Wrangler, we can make this process really easy. And what you would normally do is actually select a file like the albedo and just drag it into Blender and let it go. Or add, oops, just do Shift A. If I do texture, image, you can open up the files from there. That's not what we want to do. That's tedious and time consuming. So instead, I'm going to use Node Wrangler to help me do that. So this is important. You select the principled BSDF, so it's highlighted, and then press Control, Shift, and T. Control, Shift, and T. And that one will actually open up the File Explorer window there. And with that open, you can navigate to where you've saved your downloaded asset. And if we select the folder, I think it's that one there, isn't it? Let's switch it over to thumbnail. Oh, no, it's wrong. It's the second one. Oops. Goodness me, come on. There it is. There's our grapes. Right. Now you're here, we can just select the albedo file, hold down Control to select different files. And let's put it into list view actually. We've got the albedo, displacement, roughness, transmission. And that's it. So we've got 4 files selected. I'm going to click the button here. And Node Wrangler will very kindly, it's going to pause for a moment while it loads them. And here you are. Let's put that into proper rendering mode. Let's put that into an interior. And there are our grapes. Now it looks a little bit weird there. It could be this, or it could be the normal map. But that's, I think that is okay. There's one more thing you might need to do. I don't know why it does this by default, but every material in Blender, you go to settings on the material properties, head over to settings, scroll down. You only have bump only as the displacement setting. So change that to displacement and bump. You can see that's now working properly. Okay. Cool. You may not even need to use that. I mean, you could plug it into a... In fact, we're not even having our normal map there. So I probably selected the wrong file somewhere, didn't I? So let's just double check. We've got our transmission there. That's plugged into transmission, that's good. Roughness, plugged into roughness. Albedo is plugged into base color. That all looks good. I seem to have missed the normal map. So what we can do is add that manually, which I might as well do now. Let's just do texture, image texture. Just want to drop that there and plug in our mapping into there. Just move that over here. I'm going to click open, head over to Quixel, food, make sure we have the grapes, and we do. There's our normal map there, Lot 0, open image, and then we need to change this to non-color. That's very important, otherwise it will look terrible, basically. And now we can't just plug this directly into the normal slot there, because that won't work properly. You can see there, it looks bad. That's because we need to tell Blender this is a normal map that's going into the normal slot. So let's do vector, normal, map. Let's drag in our color into color on the normal map slot icon there and drag that into normal. Now you can see that's working correctly. That's all you should need to do. And I don't know why I missed that. I probably didn't select it, but Node Wrangler would have taken care of that for us as well. So that's how I brought the grapes in. And as I mentioned earlier, this will work for any asset on Quixel.com Megascans. Cool. So let's head over back to the downloaded assets I've got. So for the sake of repeating myself, this could be the same as doing the grapes. The Wild West, I haven't used this one yet. Give you a quick preview of that. This is a Wild West sign you'd find in a saloon or something. I'm going to import that into Blender. So as before, here's the LOD file for that. I'm going to drag it, let it go in Blender, and import FBX. And of course, it's much larger than a few grapes. So that's what you're seeing there. In fact, it's 2 meters wide. Quite a big sign. But we don't have any materials on it. So let's head over to shading. And as before, all we've got is an empty normal map. So I'm going to delete that. Make a bit more space there. Zoom out there. And I'm going to select the principled BSDF. Hit Control Shift and T because we have Node Wrangler installed. Head over to your Wild West Saloon folder. I'm going to put that into list mode. I'm going to carefully this time select the albedo, the bump, displacement. I don't think we really need that, but I'll get it anyway. LOD, sorry, yeah, the normal LOD, that's great, and the roughness map. Yeah, I missed that one last time, didn't I? So with that selected, hit the button, and there's our Saloon sign. If we have a quick look, let's press Control Spacebar, go into full screen mode here. You can see there's our normal map, which I missed before. Here's our bump map as well, which is nice, because that's put that into its own socket, and that works really well. Our Wrangler's done a great job there. And everything is correctly set up for us. For example, roughness has no non-color data. Same with displacement, same with bump, and same with normal. So great job, Node Wrangler. And there it is. It's that simple, guys. You do the same process for anything you want to import. Oh, and before I forget, head over to the material properties and select displacement and bump. And there you go. There's our 3D asset. I'm going to rotate that so we can see it a bit more. And remember, go and claim your free assets from Quixel.com before they become chargeable. Anyway, have a great holiday, whatever you're doing. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.